All right, Shabbat Shalom, Zion,
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
and welcome to the Mind of the Brotherhood. So tonight we got a nice treat for you. Again, this is our second week for Iron Sharpens Iron Q&A, and we're going to be talking about the 12 tribe chart, the European fake one that these camps are pushing. And again, you all have a chance to call in, and we'll bring you on live. Again, one rule we have is just make sure you show your face so we can verify you. Once we verified you, then you can always mute your cam, and we can go from there. But yeah, we'll give some of y'all more time to come on here before we get started. Let's see, we got about 3 people on right now.
Oh, all right, that's pretty good.
All right.
Looks about six or seven. All praise to the Most High. This wicked 12 tribes chart of madness. That's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon, Israel. Hope you're all ready. We want any detractors, anyone that thinks that the Most High's people are the only tribes of the whole world that look different than everybody else. We want you to prove it. We want you to go to the scriptures, and hopefully tonight you can get an understanding.
Hey, we just put the link to the channel in the comment section. So, but what we want to do for you right now is we're going to show you a video clip. We're going to show you a video clip of a brother who said specifically that he heard Ariel proof that he knew that that chart was wrong, and he knew that it was fake, but they went on ahead with it anyway. Now, some of y'all may have seen this video, but I know many of you have not. So we're going to play this video for you. I want you to listen to it really, really carefully, because when we come back, we're going to explain it, and then we're going to get into some scriptures, because, see, this is what they're pushing right now. This is what they're pushing. Now, I want y'all to look at this. You know, these are Hispanic, Mexicans, Native Americans. Now, y'all tell me, do these folks look like Israel to y'all? I mean, really, brother, does these folks look like Israel to you?
Come on, man. I mean, like, what are they really great at?
These are the people that these camps are pushing. And so when they show that fake European chart, they are including these European people. And we're going to tell you the reason why behind the whole thing, you know. But first, I'm going to go ahead and just play this video. It's about 3 minutes long, and we'll be right back.
They said, we're now going to hear from our elder and our teacher. And he'd stand up there and he'd start talking and say, and I can prove it with that book you got right there in your hand, you know. And anyway, that was a great experience. I went up there a couple times. And one time we were over there and they had the charts up. And they had the charts that said, if you're Jamaican, you come from this tribe, and if you're from Barbados, it's that tribe, and boom, 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 boom. And read the book, said, hey, come on, Pop. What is, you know that ain't right. He said, of course, Danny, I know that's not right. He said, but that's the hook. That's how we get them into place, and we wire them up to what's true. Well, you know, years later, after he passed away, and his sons and all of them, they either died or moved away, the Tanakh school began to teach those things as truth. This is the truth, you know. And, well, anyway, when we got cut loose by Chief Counsel, Princess Rivka, and my son and I, we kept Shabbat at home and all the holy days. And I didn't know where Bene Zarkain was, but I wanted to find them because that's where my teacher came from. And we had no roots. We were just...
Now, did y'all hear that brother what he said? Did y'all really listen to the video? Now, he said that they had a group, and they said they pulled out the charts, and they said if you're from if you're from Jamaica, you're this part of, you're this tribe, and if you're from this part, then you're this tribe. And a guy was like, Ari, I was like, we know that's not right. There are things that he says we know that, but it's the hook. That's how we get them in. And so these folks, these leaders of the One West camp, they knew that this chart was wrong. It was wicked.
And so initially, did you see? Initially, he was saying that it started with filthy lucre, for them to bring in more people to get them money, and then after a while, the same doctrine just kept on perpetuating over and over again until it blew up into the One West camps today. What they hold as truth, that 12 tribes chart of wickedness.
And it was never corrected, because remember he said dudes they died afterwards, and they just continue to teach it as truth. And when you can become good at anything, especially the wrong things, when you practice it long enough, you keep repeating it, and you just believe that lie. You continue to believe that lie, and it becomes so real to you. And that's why people have a problem. Because how can you say that Israel, Negroes look like everybody else? But when it comes to everybody else, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, they look like each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that whole concept behind that whole thing.
Also,
All right. If anybody have any questions, you can always just, you don't have to wait till we get done. You can always just go ahead and click the link and come on backstage. Anything as we're talking.
John, I know we're starting a little early. I know we said we're going to start at 7:30. Spirit just hopped on us, so we're not going to really get too involved. But just like Brother Daniel was saying, they also in Deuteronomy 7:6 it says that we are above all nations that are upon the face of the earth, right? So that means we're going to have superior genetics, as we already see today, right? As we already see today. So what does that mean? Are we going to have inferior genetics? But what happens when you mix? Like when you mix with something, like as soon as you mix with the heathen, right? What happens? The dominant gene takes over. So if you have 9 times out of 10, if you have like white and black mix, or a white Mexican mix, or white or whatever mix, that's just that's the same thing that's going to happen. It's going to be that there we go. Sorry about that. You're going to take over because you have a dominant gene. Now, I I just don't see how it would be that the Most High would make one tribe's genetics more dominant than the other. You know what I mean? If any tribe in the whole 12 tribes of Israel were to look different, it would be Benjamites, right? Because there was a time when they were committing some wickedness and homosexuality, and the Most High um, had commanded that they damn near be destroyed, all of them. And then so they had to take neighbor heathen women to restore the tribes. So if any of the 12 tribes of Israel were to look different, it would be Benjamin. But because we know that the Lord loves us,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that all of us still look the same.
Yep, and that's a fact. And you know how the camps like to say, well, everything is based upon the father's seed. They brag on it, but let me give you a concept. And brother Aton talked about this a couple of days ago when we did the response to the whole "you are who your father is." So let's say you take a male pet bull, a male footed, a male fully blooded pet bull, okay? And let's say that male, that fully blooded male pet bull, mates with a female German Shepherd. Now, the seed works the same throughout all life. With that includes animals as well. Okay. So now, what do you think you're going to get if that full-blooded pit bull mates with that female German Shepherd? Is that baby or that pup? Is that going to be a full-blooded pit bull? Hell no. It's the same. It's the same thing with us. So common sense, y'all,
Right?
tell you that you cannot mix and then get that full product of an
See?
Israelite. So if and I'm like many of our brothers out there are getting with these white women and these non-melanated women and vice versa, and the women are doing the same thing. your kids are not going to be your full race. They're not. They're not going to even look like you. They may have some features similar to you, but you're going to see a big difference in just the mixture of the child. So
Con,
it's very idiotic to say that, hey, the man carries the seed. Yeah, the man carries the seed, but what people fail to realize is that once you mix that seed with another nation that's not yours, then that seed becomes corrupt. And that's why the seed of Solomon was corrupt. That's why Hamashiach could not come through the line of Solomon, because it was so corrupt. That was the reason why the kingdom split, because a mamzer was about to be put on the throne, and the Most High stopped it before that can happen. So you got to think realistically, scientifically as well, because it don't make sense, with these folks that are just pushing out there like that. It's madness. And if you study in Exodus, if you study the tabernacle, everything, like the seeds could not be mixed. The types of garments and clothes could not be mixed. You could not just mix stuff like that. There was a reason why the Most High had a design like that. And you look at all these interracial couples out there, and look at their children. Their children are nothing like their fathers. They only have that, and then it depends on who has a dominant gene, because sometimes you have a brother, an Israelite brother, that will mate with a non-melanin and have children, and that child may look more black than white. And then I've seen other cases where the white woman has a strong dominant gene, and that child is more white than black. But regardless, it is not a full-blooded Negro. And y'all can argue this all y'all want to, but you're just not going to see it. I mean, if you want to get down into science and you want to get down into biology, I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. There's no way that you can say that if an Israelite man brings forth a baby by a non-melanated woman, that child is going to be full-blooded Israel. Y'all see how insane that is? I mean, it's crazy, and to say that child is still an Israelite. See, and that's the problem with our people.
you can see the plain genetic difference right here. In these pictures, and as we just bring it up, you can see how you know the mother has type C hair, and the father has wolf hair,
Mhm.
and the child is going to have like a medium, but more so the type C type hair. And this is for damn near all of it. You see the same type C type hair, and what do the children have,
Mhm.
right? What I'm saying, the children have the same thing. Well, at least the ones that are older. When you get young, I know their hair is a little bit straighter, but it goes that way. Here's another one, right? Same thing. Curly hair, and dog hair. It's the same thing. That's why that we have superior genetics. And it doesn't even matter, even if you have let's say as a Mexican black mix, right? Even if we have a Mexican and black mix, right? As we know that, they don't have curly hair, right? But you see that these not really good examples. All these look whited out for some reason. But that's a good example. Or these others with the curly hair everywhere that we see, as we see that the dominant genes, they're just going to take over. Sometimes it's hard to even tell that, even when you look at these pictures, because a lot of these women, they like to straighten their hair because they want to also adopt the ways of the heathen,
Mhm.
and not want to deal with their God-given hair. Go ahead, brother Dan.
Yeah, and we're going to take you to scriptures now, because we want to show you. We're going to go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 37, and why are you going there? See, and these camps will try to go there and use Ezekiel 37 to try to bring up the reason of naming of the tribes and everything, but we're going to show you from the scriptures that has absolutely nothing to do with it. We're going to show you what it's really saying, and we're going to read it word by word. Okay. And again, if you all have the link, and brother Aton, if you don't mind putting the link in there again under the description box.
Oh, come.
Yeah, we can go. So we're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 37. Make sure you're writing these scriptures down. Ezekiel chapter 37, and we'll start with verse 18.
Well, hold on. We can start at verse 15 if you want, and that'll just
Let's go to 15.
come. All right.
Okay. All right. Hey, can you make that bigger? Can you make that a little bigger?
Come.
That way you should be able to pinch and.
Oops, that's too
There you
big.
go.
What about that? Is that good?
Yes, good.
All right,
Let's go
come.
back down to 15. Okay, and we're gonna read this slow, and we're gonna be reading from the King James version. So those y'all who are following along in the seat for whatever, just follow along with us for edification purposes. So 37:15 it says, "The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying," verse 16, "Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions." All
Come.
right. So before we go further, let's explain this before. So he says, "Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write it for Judah." Now, who was Judah in charge of? Judah was in charge of the southern kingdom, right? Judah was the head tribe of the southern kingdom. And then for the children of Israel, his companions, then take another stick and write it upon for Joseph's stick of Ephraim. And Ephraim, Hosea was the lead tribe of the northern tribes.
Come. Now, the stick of Ephraim, that also goes back to Jeroboam, right? When the
Mhm.
Most High had gave Jeroboam the northern kingdom, right? He gave him all the 10 tribes. So that's why it says for Joseph and the stick of Ephraim and for all the house of Israel's companions. It's talking about the other 10 tribes because the stick of Ephraim, the rulership of the northern tribe went to Ephraim. Okay, you know, say if we want to go back to Jeroboam, and then we can prove that how the Most High took it from Solomon, and that's what Solomon was trying to kill him. But anyway, but he came back, and the Most High had given him the 10 tribes and a rulership over the 10 tribes. But go ahead, there, brother David.
Mhm. And also to add, this is when the kingdom was split too, because remember the kingdom was split into two kingdoms. You had the southern tribe, and then the northern tribe. And this is why it's saying like this, because now these sticks are about to be joined. Okay, verse 17, and it says, "And join them
Oh,
one
hold on,
to."
one quick. 1 second. Let me interject. Now, in the beginning, it says in 37:15, it says that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the me is talking about Ezekiel. It's not talking about any camps, anybody making any
Mhm.
dreams or anything to write down a wicked 12 tribes chart that includes heathens without inheritance. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say anything about writing down a 12 tribes chart. It does not
No,
say that.
no. And what we're gonna do is after we explain Ezekiel 37, we're gonna, for those who are coming on a little late, we're gonna show you a video where they admit that that chart was wrong, but they went ahead and did it anyway.
Done.
All right, let's look at verse 17. And it says, "And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand." Now, here's the thing you got to understand: are these two sticks currently joined right now? No, because we're still scattered. We're still scattered to the four corners, according to Deuteronomy 4, 26 and 27. We are
Done.
still scattered, but the Most High. This is a future prophecy, because what's going to happen is that when the Most High gather His people, He's going to join us all together. All right,
Cut.
and no man, and see, there's no one out there who would knows what tribe they are. You know, when they threw our forefathers on ship, they had no idea. I told them this tribe is this tribe, this tribe is that tribe. When we went into Egypt on ships, you know, we began to lose our identity. Deuteronomy 28:48 says that I will destroy thee. I will put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until I have destroyed thee. So at this point, currently in this time and age we're living in right now, no one knows what tribe they are a part of.
Cut.
All
And
right, and
then
no
like
camps can tell you that. And these camps are coming up with this hold on, pull that chart up one more time. Let me pull that chart up. I'll bring it back. So you got these camps, and this is where they're trying to get Ezekiel 37, which has nothing to do with, it does not list the names, the locations. I'll put it that it does not give the locations at all, these charts. So this whole chart is just wrong. You know, they got Ephraim as the Puerto Ricans, they got Manasseh. Well, let me just start from the beginning. Judah as the American blacks, they got Benjamin as the West Indian blacks, they got Levi as the Haitians, they got Ephraim as the Puerto Ricans, they got Manasseh as the Cubans, they got Simeon as the Dominicans, they got Zebulon, they got Guatemala to Panama, they got Gad, Native Americans, Indians, Reuben, they got Seminole Indians, and Asher, Columbia to your Uganda, your Galway, Issachar, you Mexicans, Naphtali, Argentina. So what they're saying is that these people are your brothers. Now you look at this picture; these are your Mexicans, Hispanics, Native Americans, and so forth. Do these people look like Israel to you? Of course not. And so, that's just the most idiotic thing, you ever saw. So I just wanted to just cover that before we go further, because you gotta get a visual in your head of what we're saying and what the scriptures are really saying, okay? Because we're gonna go over this slow so y'all can get it. All right, I'm gonna read verse 17 again. I'll let brother add some things in there. Verse 17, it says, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand.
All right. All right. It's one thing that the people that teach the false doctrine that says that this is a prophecy for some brother to write down the 12 tribes chart, they're starting to take away from bad habits from the Christian church. Camp doctrine is almost as worse as, I hate to say it, but it's almost as worse as Christian church, because they like to cherry pick. They like to read one scripture and they don't read the whole thing. But if you read the whole thing, right, it'll come into a picture of what is going on here, instead of just read one scripture and cherry picking, which I do understand about precept and precept, but which is really like a whole phrase, like a whole picture here. And so I go ahead, I mix it up over here. I can't just take one example and then go from over here.
That's right.
So, and then the same thing like Brother Daniel was saying before, you really don't know what tribe you're from, because you're technically who you are, who your father is, as far as tribal is concerned, far as who's the father that is in Israel. So you don't know what tribe you're from. I mean, like, period, because all the marriages that we've had between our people over the years, you don't know, if a Judite's married a Benjamite, or, since someone from Issachar, has married someone from Asher. You just don't know. Go ahead, Brother Daniel.
All right, we're going to continue reading. And again, as we're reading, me and Brother Aitan, we're going to explain this in detail. So let's look at verse 18. Verse 18. And it says, and when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? So now it's getting ready to be explained unto Ezekiel. So now let's go to, and brother, anytime you want to come in, just jump in. Let's go.
Go ahead, brother. Do your thing, man. You on fire.
Okay. Let's go to verse 19. And it says, and please make sure you all are writing this down as well too. Don't just look at the screen and then but make sure you're writing this down. All right, verse 19, it says, say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows. It's talking about the northern, and will put them and put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. So what is this verse saying right here? Just like it reads, what is it saying? So it's what it's saying right here. The Most High is telling Ezekiel that, hey, I'm going to join these two kingdoms together, since they were split thousands of years ago. Now I'm going to take the the kingdom of Judah. I'm going to take the kingdom of Israel, the northern tribe, and I'm going to join them together. All right. So stay with us because we want to make sure we have a clear understanding that this has nothing to do with listing of the locations of the tribes of Israel. That is the most ridiculous false doctrine that anybody can conjure up. All right, let's go to verse 20. Now, stay with us now. And it says, and the sticks wherein thou wouldest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. All right, let's continue on to verse 21. It says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their, you can scroll that up a little bit. There you go. I'll read that again. And they said, read verse 20, read verse 21 again. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither thou be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. Now, this for sure has not happened yet. Why? Because our people are still scattered. So notice it says that he's going to gather Israel from among the heathen. Where else did it say that at? It said it in Deuteronomy 4, 20, 27 and 28. And also you can read it in Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34, where it talks about where he's going to gather us from all the nations and bring us into the wilderness. So this is sometime in the future. This has not happened yet. All right. So let's look at verse 22. And it goes on to say, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. So he's going to make them one nation in the land upon, so he's talking about taking the 12 tribes and he's going to make them one nation. He's going to make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all, talking about the Hamashiach, of course, and they shall be no more two nations. Okay, hear that? They should be no more two nations. So why was the nation split in the first place? You know what I'm saying? So it goes way back. It goes way back. It was because of wickedness. And part of that was trying to put a mamzer, a mixed breed, on the throne. It says, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. So this is the promise that the Most High is making right here. So he's saying that afterwards there will be no more division. If you read Nahum 1:9, it says, "What dost thou imagine against the Most High? Affliction shall not rise the second time." So he's letting us know that this thing's not going to happen no more, because the Most High is going to have a government set in place that's going to be so firm and so pure and so righteous that no one is going to dare buck. And even if they try to buck, they're not going to be successful.
Con.
All right, let's look at and again, brother, let me know. Let's look at verse 23. All right. Then it goes on to say, verse 23, it says, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. Well, why is it saying this? Because it was Judah who caused the northern tribe to go off, and then Judah ended up going off themselves. So it says, neither shall they defile themselves anymore. See, brothers and sisters, we're talking about thousands of years of history here in the past, at least 4,000 years of history. That's insane. But see, to us, that's a long time. But to the Most High, that's like only like 4 days.
That's right.
But we're talking about some serious history here.
God.
Read that part again, because that one is profound. Starting again at verse 23. It says, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. And it goes on to say, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places. There it is again. He's telling us that everywhere that we're dwelling, because we're scattered to the four corners of this flat earth, it says wherever we're dwelling at, that's where he's going to gather us. We don't know exactly how that's going to happen or what that's going to look like, but we know that through his power he's going to gather us up. It says,
Con,
wherein they have sinned and will cleanse them, so shall they be my people, and I will be their God. It's plain and simple, brothers and sisters.
con. Now
And you see how we went through and we broke that down. That has nothing to do. There is nowhere in those verses where it lists the location or tells you who is who and where what location. This is something that these camps came up with. Brother, I want to show them something else if you don't mind. If you have anything to interject, I want to take them to Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 11.
Okay.
Because it's going to show you the spreading of the northern kingdom as well as the southern kingdom.
Con,
And
I
we
also
said,
want to go back to this as well. I also want to go back to
okay,
this. I
well we
got
can,
other
yeah,
things I'll come
yeah,
back.
yeah, we'll come back to this, but I just want to show them right quick. So if you can go to Isaiah right quick,
Oh,
Isaiah
okay.
chapter 11.
All right.
Start with verse 11. All right, and it says, right here is just showing you the how the remnants are scattered. It says, and it shall come to pass that in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Syria, from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Now, if you do a study and if you look up where these current locations are, you'll see that they are scattered out throughout parts of Africa, the Middle East, what is known as the Middle East, and the Mediterranean Sea. That's a fact. There's no question about it. Verse
Con,
12, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast. Hold up, I lost the place right here. Assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So we know that Judah, when it's talking about Judah again, it's talking about the southern tribes. They're scattered everywhere. So we up in Africa, we up in the Mediterranean Sea, we up in Russia, we everywhere. We everywhere. All right.
con.
And
You
then
see what?
remember, and the reason why I wanted to read this part is because this goes along with Ezekiel chapter 37. And it says, verse 13, it says, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So this goes to show you this is a precept to Ezekiel 37, because this is tell you what's going to happen. They're going to come together and everything. Hey,
This
brother,
is like
if you
this.
go ahead.
Yeah, this sounds like black on black crime right here. Judah shall not vex Ephraim, right?
Yeah.
Like Ephraim is all of the northern tribe. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
con. All
And I want to show you one more right quick. Go to Zephaniah chapter 3.
right, con. Let me get back there.
Zephaniah 3, and then we can go back to Ezekiel.
All right.
Zephaniah 3 and 10. Okay. It says, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughters of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. So it's letting you know where his people are. So for these camps to say that, that you got the Mexicans Issachar for being in Mexico. As a matter of fact, speaking of the Mexicans, did y'all know that the Biden administration recently was currently considering giving each Mexican family $450,000?
Con.
That was separated. Did y'all know that? Yeah, I still think those folks are our people. Yeah, that's
All
some
right.
crazy stuff.
All right. Let me show you something. Right. Right here it says that the sons of Leah, right, are Reuben, Jacob, firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. Right. Now let's go to the chart. You know, it says the sons of Leah. So these all had the same father and the same mother. So let's go to this 12 tribes chart. Hey, brother, you can bring that up real quick.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. It says Judah, it says American blacks, right? It says Levi is the Haitians. So two of them, right, on the chart is black, right? Hey,
Mhm.
go ahead, drop the calendar. And I would take that off real quick. Right, two of them are black. So we have right Levi, like Levi's black right here, right, and then we have Judah is black, right? So I'll pull that up. Let's see what Reuben is on the chart. Reuben and Simeon, right? We got Simeon are the Dominicans, right? And let me see what we got Reuben as. Uh, do you see Reuben? Okay, okay,
The smaller Indians.
okay. And the Seminole Indians. I mean, like, what in the world? Are you kidding me? So this lady then had four different, what I'm saying, so far, four different nations come out of her, right? You know what I'm saying? These are all different looking folks. Now, let's go back and let's see. Okay, and they have Issachar as the Mexicans, right? And then let's see what the Zebulon is. Go ahead to Zebulon. And Zebulon is the Guatemala and Pandoranians, the Mayans, right? That does not absolutely make no. I mean, like, how can one woman have all of these different races? That don't make sense. Where is that miracle in the Bible? Could somebody point that out? Where is that miracle in the Bible? Right?
And see what's funny, and what's funny. So when you look at this chart, you look at they got the only ones they got black are Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then the rest of them are Europeans. You got to ask yourself, well, how did they become white? Because we never lose our seed, we never lose our distinction either. And their faces shall never become pale. Their faces shall never wax pale. And so, how do you explain how did these people become white all of a sudden? How do they become whitewashed? See, and the problem with these camps, they like to say that we look like everybody. And I heard these boys say that. They said, well, Israel looks like every other nation. No, they don't. You go to China, you show me one black person, Negro, that looks like a Chinese. Because if he's a Negro, then he's not Chinese, he's an Israelite.
Come.
You know what I'm saying? Chinese people look like Chinese people. Common sense, y'all. I mean, just sometimes you can't fix stupid because you really have to twist your mind to really believe that. And when Brother Aton gets done, we're going to show you the video again because this is all going to make sense once we show you this clip from the One West camp admitting that this chart was false.
Absolutely.
Out of their own look, these are the same people who came up with the crap. And they're telling you this stuff was false. But they're gonna tell you the reason why is the reason why they continue to teach it.
Right.
So you ready for me to play that video?
Hold up real quick, right? I want to show them one more thing. Well, before we see that video, right? They're gonna say that that brother was a prophet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now this is in the days of Ezra when all of our prophecies are about to come to an end. It says, thus saith the Lord, Slakia, it says, thus saith the Almighty Lord, your house is desolate, I will cast you out as the wind does stubble, and your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment and done the thing that is evil before me. Your houses will I give to a people that shall come. So that wasn't talking about those folks, it's talking about the people that shall come, us now or us in the future that will be coming, which have not heard of me, right? Because we lost our language, we lost our identity. A lot of us are just now coming into the truth, which have not heard of me, yet shall believe me. Because a lot of us have not seen any miracles or anything, but we believe in the Most High, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. This verse right here is very important. Verse 36. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. So you don't have anybody that's directly connected to the Most High right now. You don't have that. Nobody has spiritual power. You don't see anybody creating miracles and doing the things that real prophets have done. We don't have any prophets right now. We have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, I'll run that video.
All right. Again, this video is going to reveal the truth, and these One West campers are admitting this out of their own mouth. So here we go.
They said we're now going to hear from our elder and our teacher. And he'd stand up there and he'd start talking and say, and I can prove it with that book you got right there in your hand, you know. And anyway, that was a great experience. I went up there a couple times. And one time we were over there and they had the charts up. And they had the charts that said if you're Jamaican, you come from this tribe, and if you're from Barbados, it's that tribe, and boom, 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 boom. And read the book, said, hey, come on, Pop. What is, you know that ain't right. He said, of course, Danny, I know that's not right. He said, but that's the hook. That's how we get them into place, and we wire them up to what's true. Well, you know, years later, after he passed away, and his sons and all of them, they either died or moved away, the Tanakh school began to teach those things as truth. This is the truth, you know. And, well, anyway, when we got cut loose by Chief Counsel, Princess Rivka, and my son and I, we kept Shabbat at home and all the holy days. And I didn't know where Bene Zarkain was, but I wanted to find them because that's where my teacher came from. And we had no roots. We were just...
So I hope y'all really heard that. You know, admitting out their own mouths that the thing wasn't wrong, you know, and that was wrong, but that was the hook. Wanted to bring him in. Had a lot to do with monetary gain and all that stuff. And see, and that's why these boys, that a lot of these guys have that 501c3, and they can't discriminate against Europeans. So they had to come up with some kind of way to say, hey, well, these people are the Mexicans, these people are the Zebulon, and so forth. These people are Gad. You know, don't make no sense at all. And then they'll try to use Genesis 49 to try to go through the breakdown. But I did a video on the whole breakdown of Genesis, so you all can go through my playlist on the camps, and you'll see the breakdown step by step, because that's a whole nother study. Because that, you know, that would take a good 2 hours just to break everything down and show you each tribe and what was going on and everything. Okay, and again, even that tells you what it was all about. And everything it had nothing to do with the locations of the tribes.
God.
But again, something that it came out of a man's dreams, so-called came out of a man's dream, and you heard what he said, that after those boys died, they continued to go with the lie. And look how much it spread like wildfire. Look how much it spread through all our people, and a lot of our people are waking up to that stuff. A lot of our people are waking up in these camps. They just don't know no better.
God, absolutely.
And so, as far as that chart goes, it failed.
It's over with for that chart. So when we're going back to Ezekiel 37, the reason why I wanted to stick on this is because this is the foundation of where they say that they're supposed to come up with a 12 tribes chart. This whole thing from Ezekiel 37:15 all the way down to Ezekiel 37:23 is nothing else than is just talking about the prophecy of when the Most High is going to save his people, when the Most High is going to send his son, Hamashiach, to save his people in the end times. That's it. For he's going to, for Judah, for the children of Israel and his companions, and take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all his Israel and his companions. And the only reason it's saying on the stick of Ephraim is because, let me see, like I was saying before, right, when the Most High was getting ready to take it, the Most High was getting ready to take the kingdom, right? It says, wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as that this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant, right? And the servant at this time was Jeroboam, right? Yeah, from the tribe of Ephraim. Notwithstanding in the days, I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of thy hand, out of thy son. So if we go on down, right, it says, and the Lord stirred up an adversary into Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was the king. Oh, hold on, let me go down slack here. All right, here it is, right. This is the servant right here, right. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite, right? So he was from the tribe of Ephraim, right? Of Zeredah, Solomon's servant, whose mother was king of Zerutha, a widow woman, even as he lifted up his hand against the king. So now, right, if we go on down, we'll see that the Most High ended up choosing Solomon to rule the kingdom. And it says, here we go, here it is right here. And it says, right, and howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I choose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hands and give it unto thee, even 10 tribes, right? Even 10 tribes, no, right? So this is indicating that this is going to be the northern kingdom, right? Which is going to be Ephraim. And unto his son I will give thee one tribe, the tribe of Judah, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, and the city I have chosen to put forth for my name, which is Jerusalem. Right? And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to thy soul's desire, and thou shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be that if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, which is why it says the house of Ephraim and the house of Judah, which is why his name is being there, because the Lord did do as he said he would. He builded him a sure house, and I'll give Israel unto thee. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. So Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, who the Most High wanted to roll, because it says back in the law that the Most High is going to command who he wants to rule. You just can't pick who you want and get up on the throne. And Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, into Shishak, king of Egypt, and in Egypt until the death of Solomon. All right, Salakia. I just wanted to show you that's exactly what it was talking about. All of Israel, the prophecy from from when we got split up, bring us back together. The Lord's going to bring us back together, make us all one tribe of Israel, all again in the end times. It has nothing to do with making a 12 tribes chart where you got heathens hanging out with us, marrying heathens even. That wicked IUIC, they even be televising it, have it on YouTube and all kinds of stuff. Acting like that's a good thing. Man, you're just gonna send these brothers straight to the pit.
And hey, y'all, make sure you're writing these scriptures down too. Please make sure you're writing them down. And if there's anybody out there that has a rebuttal, because I know we got some haters out there. We always have those, but hey, we like to give them a chance too. And if you want to come on and you want to rebuttal what we've been saying and showing you from scriptures, then you're more than welcome to come on. We have nothing to hide here. So the link is in the description box. Just scroll up. You'll find the link and come on. Again, we just ask that you will show your face. Once we bring you on backstage, once we verify you, then you can mute your cam and then you can begin your rebuttal. So we will listen to you, but if you begin to, play games or try to go around in circles, look, we're going to just go ahead and kick you off. We want you to come with it, what you got. So we'll give you still some time. If y'all want to, anybody that's out there that want to come on and do a rebuttal or a challenge, or if you are for that European chart, this is your time to come on and make your stance or debate your cause.
That's right.
Try to prove your case. Either one.
Go ahead, come on, so we can send you home licking your wounds. All right, here we go.
See, because one more time, because at the end of the day, we're gonna have to break this out on you.
You got to know it's false. You got to know that chart is full of wickedness, right? So this is why I don't listen to people too when they say that they, I had a dream and I had this and that, and a lot of brews, I hear them say, well, it says here that the Lord's going to pour out their spirit and all of this. Well, they fail to understand that already happened in Acts, during when they were speaking in tongues, and then we can go there and get that. Nobody's not dreaming dreams and doing all that stuff today. That's not happening, right? A matter of fact, this is what it says: the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Right? You got to be a fool to believe in dreams, because it's only the commandments. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catches a shadow and followeth after wind. I mean, like, can you catch wind? Can you catch your shadow? You got to be a damn fool, right? The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Meaning that, you just can't, you just won't be able to discern which face is what's going on. Everything's in a fog, when you're in a dream. It says, of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? And that thing which is false, what truth can come? Right? Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain, and the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. If they not be sent from the Most High in thy visitation, right? This is talking about prophets, because we don't have anybody that's visited by the Most High. Set not thy heart upon them, for dreams have deceived many. Right? It says, for dreams have deceived many. That's the clue in that guy that made up that 12 tribes chart, or just made that lie up. They're saying that, he had a dream, a prophecy came from the Lord. Did I dream up the 12 tribes chart? We all look different. And they have failed to put their trust in them. Right? The law, see that? The law. And what's the law? The law says you ain't supposed to be mixing. That's what the law says, right? Deuteronomy 23, it says you're not supposed to be mixing. It gives a plethora of races not to mix with. Then it goes on to tell you that to choose of your own father, choose a race, a daughter or a son from your own father's tribe. In Tobit 4:12, there's so many proverbs. Drink out of your own cistern, so your so your own seed can inherit the glory. There are so many scriptures over and over and over again that tells you to be with your own people. The law shall be found perfect, without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth. And that's the truth right there. So you can't believe somebody that's coming up with a dream to make up some wicked ass 12 tribes chart.
And hey, brother, I want to interject too, because you brought out a very, very good point about dreams. Because see, people will try to use this verse. If you can go to Joel right quick.
God.
Joel, I'm gonna prove to you that this wasn't talking about our time, because the next verse on this really proves it. All right, go to Joel chapter 2. You already know where I'm going, and Joel chapter 2 and 28.
God.
Because we have a lot of women who like to come up. Oh, God gave me a dream and a vision and everything, And I'm gonna show you something. So let's go to Joel 2:28, and it says, and it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. See, and it stops right there. They stop right there. They don't read further. Now go to verse 29. It says, get this. It says, and also the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. Brothers and sisters, we are in captivity. We don't have no servants. We don't have no handmaids. So this tells me that this was talking about an earlier time that this happened.
God.
You understand what I'm saying? So you got to really look at the whole verse. You can't just look at one verse and be like, oh, that's talking about us. That's talking about our time.
Right. Let's see right here. Right. It says, right. This right here is a Pentecost. Right. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell in Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams.
Brothers
And on your
sisters, that
servants
has
and on your
happened already.
handmaids. Yeah. This
That
has
has
already
happened
happened.
already.
This is not coming. So I don't want to hear about any dreams of what the Most High had told you
Yeah.
because you're lying.
Yeah. And see, and this is what people try to use. And it's that I'm telling you, brother, they'll use that. Well, what about Joel? They go to Joel and Acts. Read the whole scriptures. It says upon their servants and their handmaids. We're not in our homeland. Because back then they had, Israelite had handmaids and servants. That's
Con,
why when it spoke in the Bible where it talks about servants obey your masters, because we had servants. We had servants and we had handmaids.
con. It's
Point
like
blank. Very, very, very simple. Because why the Most High says that the Bible says that Elohim is not the author of confusion. Why would you think that he's just going to give anybody some vision in the midst of this madness? And we're not even a nation. We're not even organized. But yet you're the only one that think you got it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what leads to a lot of confusion. And going back to this chart, this dude Ariel talking about he had a vision, he had a dream that God told him that this was the chart, this was the layout, that the Mexicans were that man had money on his mind. That's all he was thinking about.
con.
They
Absolute
wanted to find it.
foolishness.
It's like I said in that video we showed you. They wanted to find a way to try to modernize it so they can get money. That's all it is. It's an organized Christian church.
Con.
But it's
That's the worst thing.
like Brother Aitan said, it's worse than a Christian church.
Yeah, because they're gonna have you believing all kinds of stuff, and they got you in there. It's like,
Mm.
they put you through a boot camp. Like man, they want you to. It's almost like the Christian church, but it's worse. It's like it's like a Christian church boot camp where they force you to read their particular scriptures, and they don't want you to sway off and to read your own way. I mean, like if you can't do that and pray and let the Holy Spirit guide you, to certain scriptures, and as you're reading, will understand, and just pray for understanding. These things will pop out. These
Hmm.
things will pop out. Anyone that's strayed away from the camps, like okay, let's say for example, in the scripture that I just brought up, right? And all my servants and all my handmaids, I will pour out those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. But then they'll jump right down and they'll go, and I will show wonders in heaven above and signs on the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor and smoke. Right?
Hmm.
This has not happened yet. Right? This has
That's
not
right.
happened yet. And the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon, right? That before that great and notable day of the Lord come. People have to understand that this is, these are thousands of years that are happening in between time. Because the Most High, the way that he views the time passage is not the same as we do it, right? Let's say for example 2 Peter 3:8, it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, but
Mhm.
1,000 years is just one day. So like sometimes you can read something and the Most High is talking about things in thousands of years of time, like the great and notable day of the Lord, that is 1,000 years. That's
Mhm.
the 1,000-year reign of Hamashiach. That's not one particular day that all of this, stuff is just going to happen. That's not, that's not possible. We have to live in reality,
Yeah.
right? The 1,000 years, that's 1,000 years that it's talking about. So, like, when these brothers are reading the scriptures, I mean, like you can just tell that you're not learning from educated brothers. You're just not learning from educated brothers.
And see, and a lot of y'all out there, and I know I get it. You're excited about you waking up and coming to this truth. But see, a lot of y'all think because y'all just waking up, all of a sudden y'all think the Most High is going to deliver you right there on the spot. Brothers and sisters, we got a long ways to go because this whole thing, our learning, our heritage has been completely broken. You know what it says in Deuteronomy 48? It says, "I will put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until I have destroyed thee." We are still destroyed as a people. So we have to really learn this thing. We have to get back to the laws and keeping the laws and observing them. And not only observing them, but practicing them. You know, you can't even keep the basic of the laws, like, not having keeping your face bald when you should be growing a beard, wearing your fringes, keeping the Shabbat, observing the feast days. Our people don't even want to do that.
God, absolutely. Now I'm
So
gonna get this.
we have to we have to really. The Bible says occupy and until he comes, and we don't know when it's going to happen, brothers and sisters. But a lot of our people, where they mess up is that they have high anticipation. and no patience. And if you notice that each generation that comes along, each year, our people get more and more impatient. People don't want to wait for nothing. You know what did that to us? Technology. Technology has spoiled us. You know, back in the old days when families would cook a meal, and when the woman knew her place, and when she cooked that meal, she put care into that meal. She didn't go by any instructions. She just knew how much seasoning to put in it and everything, and it took time. You know, and we wasn't rushing like that. But it seems like everything is in a rush. Everything's in a hurry right now in this time and age.
Con.
You know, and the word says, "Be still and know that I am Elohim." Well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to sit and we don't want to really dissect and study the scriptures like it should, like it said in Isaiah 28, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little.
Con.
You
I
gotta
want to
apply
bring
that,
out another
you gotta apply
point.
that word, you gotta put it in practice.
Con.
And just
Con.
because just because he ain't coming when you want him to come, you know, doesn't mean that it's gonna come on your time. It's gonna come on his time. And
Con.
again, like Brother Aton explaining, you know, the Most High's time is much different. Isaiah 5:20, His ways are not our ways.
Right.
You know, and you can't put the Most High in a box. That's the problem. We keep putting the Most High. We keep limiting the Most High. We keep putting him in a box, trying to bring him on our level in our time frame. Not
Con.
gonna happen.
So, right, I wanted to bring this out too, Slakia. I wanted. So with this, what is that chart? That chart at? Okay, right. With this 12 tribes chart right here, right, we have American Blacks, Haitians, Indians, all these different nationalities. You know, like Mexican, they have a whole damn country to themselves. You know, so I mean, like the Native Americans, they had a whole land to themselves until the albino heathen decided just to rape, rob, and murder like
They
crazy.
get reparations though. They getting all that money from the casinos.
Con. Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, I mean, like all these different people. This is a lot of people, right? This is a lot of people. But the scriptures say, right, that we're going to be a minority. What does it say? It says, and ye shall be left few in number,
No.
whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because you wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. This is the scriptures, right? This is the curses. This is why we can't, come together as a big group and take over anything, because there's a small number of us. There's a small number of us. The Lord has destroyed us. As a matter of fact, it said that the Lord was taking pleasure. It says, and it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good, verse 63, as the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring
Mhm.
you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whether thou goest to possess it. Right? That's another curse, right? This is you will be plucked off the land whether thou goest to possess it. That means that we will never have no land. Mexicans and all that stuff that's on that chart, they have lands. Puerto Ricans, they have a land. I mean, like it doesn't make any sense at all. Cubans, Dominicans, all of this stuff that they have on here, these folks got their own land down there, and it doesn't go along with the curse. We're gonna be left few in number. If all those people were included as Israelites, then we'll be large. We'll be huge. I mean, like we'll be just as the camps like to say. You're like the stars of the multitude of heaven. You're for the many as the stars of the multitude of heaven. I mean, like, how do they skip over this whole curse right here? There's a whole verse they just omitted. Just to perpetrate their wicked ass doctrine. You
Mhm.
know, the whole thing they omitted. That's a whole scripture they just said. You know what? We're not even going to look at that. We're just going to be blind to that particular scripture. We're just going to go ahead and push this doctrine over here that says, all these other people are Israelites. And then the brothers that are pushing that, man, those are the most camps that you see that are some kind of way. They always got some heathen woman up in the mix. Absolute. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, that 12 tribe chart, man, you need to just go ahead and, throw that
Toss it in the trash.
throw that stuff in the garbage, Doc.
Oh man. Oh boy. Y'all see what we dealing with, Zion? Y'all see the kind of foolishness we're having to deal with. It shouldn't be like this. But, you know, as an old, they had to do the same thing. They had to rebuke.
Let's this question right here. Since no one's gonna come on to defend the doctrine, I
Amen.
see Maggie Hassel, Slaki, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, sister. She said, why would Yahuwah say he hates our feast days? That actually is going into that to our calendar, if you want to touch on that a bit.
Okay. So yeah, that's a whole nother. So we would have to really explain, because Israel were profaning. They were. It's because they were profaning the Shabbat. They were profaning the feast day. They were doing stuff that was wicked, and that's why, it's not talking about those who are keeping the laws and worshiping and observing the feast days.
Con. And also, like, there's also a precept that we can go to in Jubilees. I don't think we got any of these. I don't think I can pull it up
Mhm.
online, unless you can on your
Yeah.
Bible, and then post it
Hold on. Was it?
from the
There
Sefer.
was one where it talks about Peter. It says, "Let no man judge you of the Shabbat, the new moons," and basically that was saying because the northern tribes were coming in, they didn't know any better, so they were like, they were practicing other gods, and they were judging the law keepers and everything. So
Yeah, I was also talking about the one where it says that people are celebrating the wrong thing because they get the days all messed up as they're like going along with the heathen. You know how it says in Jubilees. What's that?
in
Jubilees
Jubilee
1.
6,
Yeah, Jubilees 6 con.
here,
And
let me go there right quick.
because it says that the Most High is offering our feast days, because a lot of times we are celebrating I believe that the folks that are calling the new moon the first day of the month, or they believe there are 365 days in a year, when the scriptures clearly say there are 364 days. They are making a feast day they're celebrating a feast day on a profane day, which means that that day is not for that feast day. So let's say, for
Mhm.
example, if you're supposed to be celebrating the on the first day of the month, and you're celebrating it on the third day of the month, that's not the day that was set for that. So that's a profane day for that feast day.
Mhm.
And as the times have progressed, instead of actually sitting down and just breaking down the scriptures, because the calendar is in there. It took me and brother Daniel a long time to go over all the tidbits of knowledge, and the like to coincide and line up the scriptures according
Mhm.
to how a calendar should be made for our forefathers. But you know, at least they should have something similar. You
Yeah.
know, at least something similar. For not
And
to understand that the new moon does not have anything to do with the first day of the month, that's that that's just pure idiocy. I hate to say that. I'm sorry.
what we're gonna do is, when we put the calendar out, because we're right now we're reviewing it, because we that's something we take very, very seriously. And when we put it out, we're going to put it out towards the early beginning of probably towards the end of uh, February, and the beginning of March. But when we put it out, we're going to go through a breakdown. We're going to explain month by month, and we're going to explain the precepts, the way the calendar is designed, so it's easy for you to read. But getting back to Maggie's questions, I'm going to read this in Jubilees. So if you go back to Jeremiah, read Jeremiah chapter 7. The reason why I'm not getting into it deeply right now is it's a whole nother study, and I would have to really sit here another hour and break this stuff down to you. But read the whole book of Jeremiah chapter 6, 7, and 8. Um, and also you put Amos, you meant to say Amos, and read that whole chapter, because it's going to explain what they were doing and everything, and why the Most High hated their feast days. So don't get it twisted with those who are being obedient to the Most High. Okay, he's not saying that he hates what we're doing. It was because our forefathers were just doing some wicked, profane stuff,
Uh,
and that's what that was. So I'm going to read from Jubilees, because we don't have it on the Blue Letter Bible. So if you have your Apocrypha or your Sefer, go ahead and turn to Jubilees chapter 6. And I'm going to start with verse 36. I'll give you time to get there.
Next time I'm gonna come up with a app, some kind of way that we can pull that up on the screen for the
Yeah,
for the stream.
we got some stuff. Jubilees chapter 6. But y'all can write it down. Y'all don't have to see every scriptures on the screen. We don't want to spoil y'all too much.
Okay.
I want y'all to put in the work as well. Jubilees chapter 6. And let's start with, y'all know how I get down now. Y'all know me. So Yeah, I know, brother. Time. Y'all gonna have to put y'all share in too. Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 36. It says, "For there will be those who will assertly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon." So, in other words, so yeah, okay, I want y'all to do me a favor. When this video is over, I want y'all to observe how the Khazars keep their feast days. They do the same thing. They use the moon. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think their Passover starts on, I want to say the 15th. I could be wrong. But if you notice, a lot of Israelites will follow that same pattern because they fall off the moon. So these Khazars, that's what they do. They'll follow off the moon, and then they'll base their feast days, their false feast days, of course, off the new moon. And that's why it jumps around. That's why Passover is always jumping around between March and April. But the way the constellations are, and I'm kind of getting off to a whole other subject here. I'm gonna try not to get off too much. But when you talk about the books of Jubilees, Enoch, and and the other missing lost books that has been restored, there's a lot of pertinent information on there that you can see how the Enoch calendar uses all of the constellation, not just the moon. The moon just brings in the seasons. That's it. The moon brings in the seasons. Just like this brother has up here, Psalms 104:19. It says, "He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going."
Right.
So,
Wait, hold on
and
for a second.
also, yeah.
If you point out in the calendar that we have, it's like every 3 new moons, there's a different season,
Hmm.
right? Since we have 12, 12 new moons for the year, every 3 new moons, there is because we have 4 seasons of the year. Every 3 new moons, you'll notice the seasons change. If you look on the calendar, 364 days, you'll notice the season change correctly according to time. He appointed the moons for seasons. The sun know is going down. It has nothing to do with months, even though sometimes in the scriptures it does have where moon is supposed to be month and month has to be moon because of the character looks so similar. That's why it's a little mixed up when they translated it. Which also okay, never mind. I don't want to keep going. Go ahead, brother Salaki.
Okay. Why you brought that up? I'm gonna get a precept. And this is how you know these books are original, because it bounces off each other. So what he just read in Psalms 104:19, he appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth is going on. And I know we're kind of talking about a different one, but I want to, why this is in my head. So let's go back up to Jubilees, still same chapter 6, if you're there, and let's look at verse 22. And it says, "For I have written in the Sefer of the first Torah, in which I have written for you, that ye should celebrate it in its seasons." Seasons, it's talking about the moon. One day in the year, and explain to you in sacrifices that the children of Yasharel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations. This month, one day in every year. And verse 23, it says, "On the new moon, on the first month, and on the new moon, on the fourth month." It's talking about the quarters. "And the new moon on the seventh month, and the new moon on the 10th month are the days of remembrance and the days of the seasons." Seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. Did y'all hear that? The seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. So this goes exactly along with Psalms 104. These are written and ordained as testimonies forever. And this is where people go wrong when they're using the moon. It's only the moon to adjust their feast days off, because the feast days are fixed, just like the constellations are fixed. That's why the book of Enoch is so unique, because it really gives you the whole spectrum of how the constellation works, the sun, moon, as well as the other orbs and the luminaries in the heavens. So let me go back down to Jubilee 6. Let me go back down to verse 30. Verse 30, I want to read verse 30 again. This is talking about the moons. And it says, "And all the days of the commandment will be the," verse 36. Verse 36. It says, "For there will be those who will certainly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon." So that's talking about how when people base their feast days off the moon, their feast days are going to jump around. All right, verse 37. It says, "For this reason, the years will come upon them when they are disturbed the order, and make an abominable day the abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy, for they will go wrong as to the months of Shabbats and feast and jubilees. Verse 38. So in other words, you have people out there that actually they'll keep the Shabbat based upon the new moon. So like, for example, let's say March came and let's say the new moon fell on 3 March. So you got brothers out there that will keep the Shabbat weekly on that day of the new moon. They just keep it weekly. It may be a Tuesday, so it may be every Tuesdays that they're keeping the Shabbat. Then next month, when the new moon, it may be a Thursday, and they'll keep every Thursday as a Shabbat. That's wrong because the days are fixed.
John.
Let's go to verse 38, and it says, Jubilee chapter 6. For this reason, I command and testify to you that you may testify to them. For after your death, your children will disturb them, so that when it says your children, meaning us, that we would just wake up and we would start observing and doing our own thing. It says, for this reason, I command and testify to you that you may testify to them. For after your death, your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason, they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Shabbats and feast, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. So, our forefathers have been doing it for so long, and making mistakes off this stuff. And our people still, to this day, follow the Khazars.
That's right.
The new moon.
Still eating slave food, shrimp, crab, lobster, pigtail, ham hocks. Who knows how many of our people were celebrating Thanksgiving this year? It just makes no sense.
And again, when we put out the calendar, we're going to go over it month by month, and we're going to break it down for you, so you'll have complete understanding. It's going to be so easy. A child is going to be a little child will be able to understand it.
Con. And this is another witness to what Brother Daniel was reading earlier. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, right? So,
Let them know
summertime.
what verse is that? Let them know what verse is that.
That's Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 43 and 6.
Make sure I write that down.
Right? It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, right? A time is summertime, wintertime, right? So forth and so on. And a sign of the world, right? From the moon is a sign of feast, because when the new moon hits, we had a feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection, which is
stop right there, brother. Stop. Hey, let me interject right quick. Hey, Maggie, this right here, what this brother's reading, what Aton's reading, should be the answer to your question. She asked the question: should we celebrate the new moons? Yeah, we do observe the new moons, and he's reading that right here. So,
right.
Make sure you write that, Maggie Hauser. Make sure you write that scripture down. Okay, brother, go ahead.
God. And this is a decreasive. This is an indicative third person, right? So it means a light that's decreased in its state. Okay. So notice that it says a light. I don't understand how people just skip over that part. It says a light that is decreaseth or decreased in her perfection, right? You know what that means? That means it's the first sliver. The first sliver, that is the new moon, because it is a light. Yeah. Never does it say anything about any blackness there. That is the new moon. The new moon, I wish I could pull up Enoch, because the new moon actually says this: it empties all the light out of the moon. When you see the new moon and it's dark, it's literally an empty shell. It's nothing. It's not new. The only new thing that continually fills up the moon is light. So when the new light comes into the moon, that's when it's a new moon, right? It says, from the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection, right? The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. Right here, it should be say moon instead of month. This is what I was saying about the translations. The moon is called after her name, because we know that months aren't feminine or masculine, right? They don't have any attributes. But the moon and the sun, they have attributes. The sun has a name and the moon has a name as well. We can get that later if you want. Right? It says the moon is called after her name, which is one of the names is Elba. Right? Increasing wonderfully in her changing. Right? Increasing wonder, meaning that she's going from dark, the little sliver of light. She's increasing from the little sliver of light, wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Right? So this, if you find anybody following them some full moon doctrine, that's wicked. Run from them. Right?
And
You
the
understand?
only ones that I know of right now that's out there, the camps that's out there is IUIC. And there might be other camps that follow that, but I think I want to say that IUIC definitely for sure they do the full moon thing. But again, brothers and sisters, we don't want to get off the subject here because this is a very in-depth subject, and this
Con.
is something that's really very important. So we don't want to miss no points. But however, when we do the lesson on, we put the chart, when we put the calendar out, we are going to do an in-depth lesson on this channel, and
Con.
we're going to have the fully new chart, the 2022 chart. We're going to go month by month. Okay. We're not going to leave no stone unturned, and we'll even give anybody a chance to call in on that one as well too. That may be a long one. That may be a 2-hour. That may be a 3-hour study,
Con.
because we want to make sure that you all get it. We want to make sure that you're super, super, super clear. All right, and why because, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I could say that being Brother Aton, out of all the calendars that are out there, we're probably the only ones that actually show the witness of our work. We show you the scriptures, we show you the precepts. We don't just throw a calendar together and then put a price tag on it and then try to sell it to you and sucker you like that, because a lot of folks do that.
Con.
We give you precept upon precept. So you can ask Brother Aton. I wasn't even for putting the calendar out, but I had to pray about it and really, really, really pray about it. And I said that we're going to put a calendar. It's going to have to be based off the scriptures, and it's going to have to show our work so people can study in depthly and everything. So when we get that lesson, it's going to probably be sometime in early March. So we'll put a premiere out. So don't worry, and you all can come and get some spiritual food and some learning. And make sure you bring plenty of paper and pen, because that's going to be an extremely in-depth lesson. All right.
Con. And we'll count out the days with you.
Very important one. And you're going to see where we're getting the scriptures from. We're not just making stuff up.
We might have to do
Yeah,
it more than one part. You hear me? And so that's going to be long, like all 12 months. We might have to do it more than one part, because that's going to be long, like going
Just
scripture
find
by
how we
scripture.
do it. And, we might have to break it up. We might have to
Con.
break it up in different weeks. We might have to do the first 6 months, first 3 months in one week, and we'll just keep doing it. We'll have a part
Con.
1, part 2, part 3.
All right. Yeah,
But
I'm with that.
we will eventually get it, because we want to make sure that you all really, really get it. But again, just getting back to the whole chart thing, thank you all for your questions, but just try to stay on subject. If you got questions about the chart and everything, or rebuttals, let's stick with that, so we don't get off to something that we would need more time for.
Con.
So, but listen, unless we got some more, I think we pretty much covered what we need to cover.
Con.
But here, let me give you something else again. Let me give you this one more again, so we don't forget what this old crazy chart is all about. Take that.
All right. Does anyone have any questions about the chart? Any questions? It doesn't have to be negative or anything like that. Do you have any questions, like concerning anything of that nature concerning the chart? If not, Shalom, Israel. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll do this same time, same back channel next week.
That's right. And come back next week. We look forward to it. We're gonna have something special for you. We're gonna tackle the confusion of faces. These camps like to put out confusion of faces. So
all right, brother. Confusion of faces.
We're gonna have some stuff.
We're
gonna offer any camps to come out and challenge us on it. And we're gonna go there. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, Shabbat Shalom, and stay strong. One more again. We're gonna leave one more something. All right, Shabbat Shalom, stay strong.
Shalom.